All right. 6:30, I call this last work session for 2015 and the first work session for this new council to order. First thing on the agenda is the regular business and public hearing agenda items. I'm going to offer some changes in our work session agenda, the way we handle it. Certainly open for discussion. I just want to tell you what I'm thinking about, and if you have objections to it, we can certainly review it and do whatever the majority wants. But what I'm thinking is, we spend an awful lot of time going over the regular meeting agenda in the work session, and then we go over it again in the regular meeting. So what I'm going to do is, when this comes up on the agenda work session, I'm going to ask if anybody at council has anything they want to discuss about any of the items on the regular agenda. If you do, we'll bring them up and we'll discuss them in detail till you're satisfied. But if there's not, then I just don't see the reason for going through it now and then going through it again during the regular meeting. Can we discuss that? Sounds good?
I think with the exception of things that we have like public hearings and stuff, unless Jason, we would have some updates and stuff. I think that would be the only.
If there's
thing.
updates from the time we get the package,
Yeah.
then I would ask if there are. If there isn't, then we know it's in the package.
Right,
We can do
yeah,
that.
I would depend on Jason and his staff to let us know that.
Okay, fair enough. Do you have any updates on the secretary you haven't seen?
I do have one update, and I put it in front of you about the little site plan revision for the one in front of Old Hickory. Outside of that, whatever you received in your package for Kroger, the sign ordinance revision, as well as this one, they're all the same.
I'm sorry, I missed that. Did you say this was updated from what was in the packet? It's the same thing.
This is new.
This is, okay.
You want me to go ahead and discuss it now, or you want to wait?
No, go ahead. It's been asked. Sure, please.
Okay, so everybody's aware, what the applicant submitted was basically 3 building plans. What's come up is the doctor, who's the main funding mechanism for this whole development, and his main goal is to get his doctor's office up and running. So after the cost estimates came back, he can't afford to build the other buildings now or the infrastructure for them. So basically, he's going to get in there, build his building, utilize the access drive on Old Hickory or Hickory Station Drive for his clients, and then at the time that either of the other 2 buildings come online, they'll be required to put in that full access on US Highway 78. So that's the only change. They still want to do the rest of the development, they're just not going to do it on that front.
Are they going to do any site work on that area?
I believe they're gonna clear it and grass it. It's gonna remain in a, basically in a maintained state too.
So it's not just gonna sit there as an empty muddy lot, if they're actually gonna
And
have
we've got
some.
conditions in there, we've
Okay.
had that happen in the past.
Right.
And we make sure that that won't happen.
Right.
So they'll have to get their land disturbance permit based on grading the whole site.
Right.
And then, Jason, where's the stormwater?
The stormwater actually was designed when they built Old Hickory to drain into the main detention pond for the neighborhood.
Okay,
All they have to do is bring the pipes on this site to the main drainage pipe, and it'll go to the detention pond.
okay.
They'll also enter into an agreement with the homeowners association to share maintenance costs as well.
Okay, so we won't have the legacy daycare
No,
issue with
I hope not. No.
detention there. Okay.
So basically, the shaded gray is not going to take place.
Correct, they're gonna permit that through Georgia DOT now, and then continue to extend the permit, it's easier for them to do it that way and to stay on top of Georgia DOT. If they don't have any time frame for when those other ones will come online, the other 2 buildings.
Is that it on that? The other thing is, I would like to be able to amend the agenda to add a stat committee report.
Fine, when we get to that,
report.
get to that point, just,
So you want to do that
I recognize you and you make that.
once we get to the committee reports?
Yeah.
We'll amend it then. Okay.
One other change we have in the agenda is Roger's item, C, under new business. We're going to postpone that until we have a little bit more input, and we have that committee that we're going, the ad hoc committee, which Roger and Chris are going to be on. review that and then bring it to us. I was just confused. Did you all look at the raise difference? I was just
Did you
confused. If you're under 25 people, it's $650. If it's over 100, it's $1250 per event. I don't know if that's per person, per group. You know, I didn't understand it. And also, we were changing the age on the senior center. And we talked at a retreat, something about a community in senior center. I don't know where that went, but I wanted to leave that open before we made any decision. So in a little bit here, I'm going to be making those assignments of the committees to the departments. And then both of you you'll be on the senior center and you'll be on Parks and Rec, so that you'll be working together and working with staff. We can come back and let us know exactly.
Okay. Did you guys, I'm guessing you guys also got the agenda summary where it kind of explains what you're talking about essentially?
It did, but it still wasn't, it still said they're raising prices on individuals and groups, and then all I saw was groups, you know?
Well, and I didn't, there's a couple questions on how they came up with the numbers, like 623, I mean, you know, whatever, and I don't understand, I mean, it should be a little easier than that.
There was a mention here, Lisa, that there was a survey taken of other, could you provide the results of that survey to the council? And then we'll all have a copy of that, and it'll be a little bit range.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions on that? Just want to come out with a better whole product for that. You know, we can do it in January as easy as nothing's going to happen over December anyway. And that way you'll all have your input into it, okay?
If we have questions, they'll have questions.
All right, okay, and let's go to our work session then. Do we have any correspondence? Well, I do have one. Received a letter addressed to the mayor and council that Nedra Bailey is resigning her post with the Arts Commission, although she's asked that she will stay on as the arts person coordinating the art in City Hall. She'll be staying on for that because of her health reasons. She doesn't feel she can give everything she needs to give the Arts Commission. So that means that we'll have an opening on the Arts Commission, I guess. I guess you know, you'll handle all that.
Sounds good.
Is that gonna be for a city
It
person
is
or?
within the city, yes. And just an FYI, Gene is going to be dropping off probably in January. Gene Baldwin.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Hmm. You losing all your old clothes there, buddy.
That's right, we get younger all the time.
There you go, there you go. Yeah. All right, city attorney?
Nothing formal to report. We have sort of gotten up to speed on a number of cases and can report them to the council. Their litigation matters, executive session at the council.
Oh, do we need an executive session for that? Okay. We can do it before the meeting, we'll see what we can do here. Okay, then we go into our discussion on website update, Mr. Manuel.
We've worked with Eric, Erica, and Brian on getting a new website together. Eric has the details of it, and what we'd like to do is, the basic premise of the website is you can get wherever you want to go within 3 clicks. So you don't have to go searching forever. And Eric has a handout of what's in there. We'd like to get everybody's input in terms of, the first thing we have to do is determine the content, determine where it's going to be, how we're going to break it down. We want to get everybody's input. Eric is working on a RFQ, and we'll start moving. There's some time frames in there. What Eric's going to give you is pretty much what was in the packet.
I wanted to give you a paper copy of what's in the packet, because I would like you to write on it and give it back to me in a very short time frame. I know the 18th seems fast, and particularly maybe for this time of the year it is, but I've also learned the more time I give people to get something done, the less I get back. So I'm picking on you this time. Mayor, there's a copy for you as well, if you'll do that. A large number of the pages you'll see in here are a breakdown. There are really 2 key things that a website needs. One is the framework. How is the developer going to make the whole thing kind of flow and go together? So what you'll see in here from this page, the one that says Snellville Framework back, is the framework presented in kind of different pieces. So this first page is a kind of an overview page. You'll see it says buttons, menus, all of those kinds of things. Right now, we don't really want to focus on what the pretty picture would look like on the front. We will get to that. Right now, we really need your input on what do you think are the most important things that people need to get to, what needs to be a button, what needs to be on the front page, what could be a second page. So this is an overview. If you look at the pages behind that, then it's an attempt to try and break that down. Like the second page shows what would all the menus be and what would be under those. Okay, and then one of those, you'll see the first one of those menus is your government, and that's what the next page says. And then behind that is the pages that are your government, mayor, council, and so forth. So before I go any further, does that seem a little clearer than mud than what you might have seen in the handout and what those are? Like, ask then for those pages is go through them and see what we've missed, see what should be elevated, see what maybe should be demoted, those kind of things. And it doesn't need to be in detail at this point, but I'd like to know what your thoughts are. We'll have a little bit of time after we start going forward to do some minor corrections. But what are the big chunks right now, the big rocks that we need to get at for that framework?
If you look at this page,
What's the number on that? No, that doesn't have a number, it has a
it's
framework.
got a number. It's the second framework page. What you wouldn't have the word menu here, what you would have across the middle of the website are these buttons here. So you would click that would get you to whatever you want here, and when you click there, you get at least to your destination. So all of these would be on the front page, the home page. And then you would just click here, click here, click here, drop down, these are your second choices. And then when you click there,
Well, what's the difference between that and what we have right now, except that ours now they go down the side instead of across the top?
Well, that's why we're not really focusing on what that page looks like right now. We're just going to focus
it's the
on
functionality.
content
Okay,
and
but I
information.
mean, okay. I don't, what there's a day, if I punch on the side and I go city government, then it says agendas, and it goes mayor and council, 1, 2, 3 clicks, and I'm there.
But
So
some
what
of
is
the
this
stuff
one
isn't
change?
1, 2, 3.
Pardon me?
Some of it isn't 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
I can give you an example of what's not a 1, 2, 3, is get to your code. It's not a 1, 2, 3. And it would be great if it was. I mean, it's something across the board that everybody sort of looks for, and it's a 5, 6.
And the other
And
thing,
finding a zoning case is
You're right.
close to
There are some
impossible
things.
This
unless
will
you know
also-
a
I just
name or
want
a
to make
number
sure
or something to plug in a
we
search.
come out with a product that's, 21st century and does what we want it to do.
that's the reason we have to do this, is because this will give us the ability to do videos and take advantage of all the 2015 stuff as opposed to 1999.
Which cities actually use this system currently right now? I think you indicated.
Yeah, Woburn and Fernandina Beach.
Well, and they don't really use this system. What you see here is a compilation of our existing website and some of the things I've pulled off of all those other websites to add to this. So that, again, I want to, at this point, really keep us away from what the picture looks like and where the menus and where all the things are. Because when we talked with the developer, that's easy. All we got to do is show him a picture and he puts it there. Well, what we need to really give our time to is what's the most important things to find, what are those big rocks, and then we'll figure out exactly how to get there. So if you look at, and Dave's good, we've looked at the Fernandina Beach page. I like there's a USC page that I think has some good things in it. There's lots of pages out there that have some good pieces.
And it's the functionality where they have menus and it's pretty much a free click.
But at this point, like I said, the goal is pretty simple. Tell us the big rocks, the little rocks, move down, what to move up, or if there's something missing, or if there's something in those pages that you just don't think needs to be on the pages. Because we did talk with one web page developer just to get some input on this process, and one of the things that he said was, go to your Google Analytics and find out everything that was clicked in the last 12 months, because everything that wasn't clicked in the last 12 months you probably don't need. Right? So, and I thought that was really a simple, I mean, that's one of those, if you think about it, no-brainer kind of things, but it was nice to have him just kind of bring it to the top of the list and say that. So that's my request through those pages. I have one other request. The first, the second and third pages, Mayor, you'll see you're the back of the first page, and then we'll put out this. The most difficult thing with doing a web page is all the content. And so Erica and I and Brian are going to start tomorrow trying to build content and do that. So my other ask to you is we'll need content from each one of you. So we tried to provide a little bit of a guideline here as to what that content would look like. So if you look at behind the first page, there's one for the mayor. So it says Mayor Tom Witz. You would want some kind of a picture of you, so select that picture. How you want to be contacted, it can be a phone number, an email, what's your best way to contact you? How do you want the public contacting you? And you may, as a council, want to decide on a singular method that you all use, or you might want to give individuals the option to be contacted in their preferred manner. About 200 words that talk about you and your responsibilities in that. And you'll read it in here. What a web page needs to be today is an experience, not a phone book and not a yellow pages, but it needs to be an experience. So write your 200 words, maybe from the perspective of when you were campaigning, what was the experience and the stories people wanted to hear? What information did they want to know? How does that relate to what your role is and how you can help them? So tell some kind of I'm not saying tell a fairy tale, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, you don't have to write kind of a story, but tell it in a story format, tell it in an experiential format, rather than just I'm councilman in District 5 and I have these 4 kids, and tell it in a way that's going to be interesting to the folks. So those are the 2 asks. Write some content for us, find a picture, and go through the framework. And if you can get that back to us by this Friday, that would be great. The rest of the dates you can see there are...
As in 3 days.
3 days, I know, you're a teacher.
As in 3 days.
You can have Monday or Tuesday. Before Christmas would be my ask, just because we want to be able to incorporate it in, so if there's details in there that we put out for the RFQ or RFP, then we can, then we can incorporate them into that. Okay? Any questions about either of those? We've kind of put a rough schedule on here. It does take about 4 to 5 months to do this once we accept the contractor. That's just what we've been told kind of the framework is. And I'll just tell you up front, the developer can do it in 4 to 6 weeks if we hand them everything they need the day we give them the contract. That doesn't really ever happen. So that's why it takes that length. The shorter we make that length, we shorten that length by being able to provide the content faster. So that's kind of what we're trying to do at this point, is start to get you in the mode of getting this content. And for the head department directors that are here, you already heard what I said, Gay. I'm going to pick on you because you're back there.
Okay.
You already heard what I said. We're going to be coming at all the departments too for that same information. And for your programs, for every program, for everything you want content on the web page, we want this same format. So we'll be sending that out to all of you and pestering you to get it back. Because like I said, the thing that takes the longest in this process is just gathering all of this content. And it's hard. And you want to gather, for the department folks, you want to gather forms, anything you would like the public to be able to get at. When I did this with Brunswick's webpage, the final website was 450 pages. So it can be pretty exhausting. That's why we need to just hurry up and get the content together as fast as we can. And that doesn't mean there were 450 pages you click through. What a big piece of this will be a library that they can search. So that second or third click will just be a search screen where they can then put in what they're looking for, and it will search through the whole website and find it. Okay? Any questions? I appreciate your timeliness. Ron, you want to
I'd
add
like to
something?
add real quick, we just for the benefit of the council and those in attendance, we had already interviewed the department heads and incorporated some of what they wanted to see in the website
In the framework.
mock-up as well. So we're not starting from scratch, but Gay and Lisa and they all know what we're looking for.
And also think some of the stuff we can use to modify the existing site until this comes up, because the information is obviously topical and it'll maybe help the transition a little bit if they get used to seeing it in the old site. Profile.
I'm going to add another hook in here for you all. Last week at a meeting that I was at, there was a bunch of mayors and they were talking about a mobile program they have that goes with this. But they have, it's the one that I heard about was shoot it, click it, fix it. And what it is, if you're driving on the street, you see a pothole, you take a picture of the pothole, you type in the address, you hit a button, it goes to Public Works. Public Works now has an address and a picture of the problem. They fix it, and then he keeps a diary of what's happened on it, things like that. So I'd just like you to look into that on top of the site too. Maybe somebody can integrate into it.
Yeah,
Same thing.
just, and I didn't go into a lot of detail, but well, I can say a little bit. The site, one of the critical things of the site is it will be, how do I want to verse that right? Not mobile, that's not the way to go, that's not what they say anymore. What they say now is, it will adjust itself to any surface. So if it's a smartphone, it automatically will adjust itself to that smartphone. If it's a PC, if it's a Surface, whatever that is, the new programming today adjusts it to that. So you don't look at it being mobile optimized anymore. You don't look at it being, they create this, whatever it is, in the coding, so that whatever screen pulls it up, it already knows that screen coming up, and it knows what sizes and what things need to be on there. So there's a little more background work that's done to that, because you have to give it more information. That's the programmer side, not me. But certainly, Tom, those kind of things can be easily built in or be a standalone app.
Good. Thank you, Eric. Discussion of council department assignments. Okay, I have discussed this with Butch. I think I've discussed with each one of you, basically, and I talked about it a little bit before. But what we're going to do is, we're going to assign a member of council to a city department in 6-month periods. So you'll 6 months, one thing announced tonight will be there for 6 months, and in July, we'll move you so that over the 2 years, you're involved with each one of the departments in the city, okay? And basically, it's just a matter of meeting with them and knowing what they're doing, and then when you come to these meetings, if you see problems, or if you see something that we need, or you're sitting at this table and you can bring that up forward to the rest of the council, okay? So to start it off, the chief asked me to get his agony over early, so I told him I'd give him Bobby Howard for the first 6 months. That's what I said. That's what I give it over for you.
New budget's in July, right? Good plan, Chief.
Oh, by the way, whoever's in charge of that department cannot vote on the budget items. Kidding. Public Works is David. Planning and Zoning is Barbara. Parks and Rec, Roger, you're Parks and Rec. Christie, you are Senior Center. I kept admin for myself.
Good leader.
Okay, everybody got that? Everybody have any questions about it, or how it's gonna rotate, or what you're
When do we find out what we get next?
Pardon me?
When do we find out what we
Depends on how you do the first 6 months. We have a Dick Ackerman a list here.
Oh.
Now, you could be in charge of Dick, you know. Okay, so everybody's got all that. You're all good with it, right? Thanks. Now, let's pass these out. While we're doing that,
So I get to wreak havoc on P&Z for 6 months?
yep.
Get ready.
Should be fun.
Okay, these forms, Butch and I sat down and talked about this. Now, again, I think I've talked with some of you, and I talked with Barbara about it, I think I talked with Dave. You know, we come into these meetings and we have this list of things on the work session, and then we forget something, and it's a month later, and well, whatever happened to. This is going to be a running list of everything that we're working on in the city. From the big items like town center, all the way down to how much we're going to charge at the senior center, okay? It'll all be listed here. You'll get a copy of this in your packet. You'll get a copy of this in your packet. What will happen is as we update it, comments will be made on it, but comments will be added in by staff. So when you get it back to the next meeting, you'll have the most current comments on that, okay? And that way, hopefully, my plan is that things won't fall through the cracks. You know, the website will be on there until it goes away. And if something happens, and we don't hear anything about it this week, and if we don't hear anything about it next week, it's like, you know, kind of like WebGen and the annexation, you know? We're on it. Letters have been sent, right?
Well,
So we're gonna have
we just
everything
put,
on
we
here.
can fill that one in at the top.
Yeah, that's gonna be,
That's the oldest one, that was
Yeah.
2010.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
that's-
put that was the
Yeah, that's
first.
kind of thinking that would be that'd be the
mine
first one.
mine was pre-printed with that.
I thought we were gonna mark that complete tonight.
Whoa, whoa, man. Convention,
No
convention.
pressure, no pressure.
There's only one meeting in June, it's gotta be early.
Yeah, that's right, it will have to be. How's everybody with that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that'll be good. You may wanna consider it, on some of these that actually do have like a timeline where things need to do, is
Maybe have a
like a
date on
Gantt chart, well.
You
do
got a
Gantt chart.
milestone, you'll have a milestone date on there that'll be, bid, in progress, halfway, 50% complete. I use this to keep track of capital projects and different SPLOST projects with directors, and it keeps everybody on point.
So here's what I'm asking you.
Well, I can imagine that this one will have, just about every department will have something on here all the
Absolutely.
time.
And that's why I made that one row is for committee. So, whoever's in that committee will
I
be.
thought it was commission.
What I'm asking y'all to do though, is to put together your list of what you think you listed on here. Then we'll put them all together, okay? And we should have a pretty thorough list of all 6 of us list out. There'll be lots of duplicates, we understand that. But there'll be the one thing that you think of that no one else thought of that go on here, okay? So if we can have that for our next meeting, the January meeting, and I'll send reminders out that we need to have that, and bring that to the January meeting, then we'll give it to staff, and then we'll let them compile it. Then the second meeting in January, we'll start running with this format.
We'll have a committee meeting before that second meeting, so we'll get on the same page committee-wise.
Do you wanna bring all of those to the work session, or you want us to email them
Prior
in
to-
before, so that you
No, you
can
might
have
not.
a draft?
You're gonna, I assume.
Okay, let's say that they
A
have,
draft list together, and we can go through
Okay.
and edit from
great,
there.
that's a better idea. So
You're
let's
gonna
do
have
that.
this electronically somewhere, so it could be updated.
Probably, yeah, we could probably
I'll
do
send it
that.
to you.
Well, I was just thinking if you
Do
have a
Excel or
master
something.
somewhere, that way you can update it.
So
instead
have
of
an access.
Six pieces of paper.
Yeah.
Do it in Excel, we can.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, we're off the ground on that. So let's say, when's the next meeting, when is the meeting in January? What's the date on
It's like
it? 9?
11. Let me see, 11. January
Yeah,
11th.
11.
So let's say we have these in by the 4th. Okay? Melissa, you can give me a call the evening of the 4th and tell me who I have to get on. I'm sure I won't have to get on it. Except myself. That was so happy, you need this lady.
Yeah, if he doesn't submit anything, send an email to us.
Okay, we got the ad hoc, got the council assignments, ad hoc committees. We have about 4 ad hoc committees that we know about. We've got the annexation. I have a list of yours. We got the charter, we got the annexation, we have the website. Of course, I still think we need to probably get a little bit more input on that as we go forward. So what I'm going to ask is I'm going to ask Brian to do a press release asking for citizen input and that we need people on these 3 committees. And we'll put it on our Facebook page, put it on our website, just show conclusion. We want to get people to just, I'll get with Brian, we'll work it up so that we get people contacting us to get involved. Once again, we're all about inclusion, we're all about getting people here, getting them involved in the city. We know what happens when that happens, so we want to fertilize that ground as much as we can, and by giving these people, someone may have a bone about annexation or really want to be in, and they don't, maybe they're outside the city, but they want to be on a committee because they want to get this in. That'd be good for us, okay? And the same thing with the web. Maybe you'll have someone in the community who does that, who would like to be part of that. Well, it can't hurt, right?
Is the
And
web,
the same with same with the charter. The charter, we do want a couple citizens. I have the people that we want from government and former government, But I still would like a couple of citizens involved in that, and this will be an opportunity for us to recruit some people into that.
We're gonna disseminate that information just with our Facebook page.
No, it's gonna be a press release.
We're gonna do a press release plus a
Facebook page,
Website.
website,
okay.
all the things that Brian does so well.
Okay.
And, it'll come back to me in a second.
It doesn't stop me.
It's a boomerang thought.
All right, now, under ad hoc committees, there's one that's, I would like to make more than an ad hoc committee. I'm calling it, for lack of a better term, the Community Development Council, or board, or commission. And what I want this commission to do, or what my thoughts are for this commission, is to strictly do nothing but work on community development, developing the community itself, the people. And although after the first year, this would become I'd like to have this as a charter, be in our charter as a bona fide city committee. And for the first year, I'd like to, because I want to get it off the ground really quick and I want it to work, is to ask some of our board chairmen if they would serve on this committee for the first 12 months, and I'm looking at Kirk because he's on my list. Basically, what this commission will do is strictly work on the community calendar. The commission will meet once a month. They'll know everything that's going to go on the following month. I want the chairman of the DDA, chairman of the Arts Commission, chairman of the URA. Who am I missing? Planning and Snellville Tourism and Trade and Rec. Okay, so it's 6 people, and they're going to know you had an Arts on the Green thing that's coming. You're sitting at that table. Stat can tell you what they can do to help with that. Make sure it gets out to the community. Stat does their Christmas thing. They need the arts people to do something for them for the Christmas. You have all these people and Brian at the table. Okay, and that way, everything that's going to happen in the community is going to get vetted well. It's going to get maximum, what's the word I'm looking for? Exposure to all the different branches. Okay, and it's going to get to the people. So I don't think it's a loser. I don't think see how it can. When you see what we do in economic development, things like that, because you have people working together on it. This is the same thing. I mean, it's all about the community, all about the people.
Do you want to add Board of Appeals to that? Or was you looking for all boards, or just?
No, I don't want the boards directly involved with community development, like arts and
We
like.
probably ought to have
CDA.
somebody like GECC.
Probably could, yeah, we probably could, yeah. We can work all that out.
Business
That'd
stuff
be
too,
very
yeah.
good. That'd be very good. We'll work all that out, and again, it's gonna be a learning process over this year, but that's why I wanted the heads of those departments and the heads of those commissions, because, you know, those people that have gotten it done in the past, they'll get together and figure out how all these pieces work together. So a year from now, kind of should be smoothed out, and they can delegate someone from their commission to either stay on it, or delegate someone from their commission to take that board and run with it. How would everybody think of that? Good? To go?
Move on.
MLK Day. I had a meeting a couple weeks ago with First New Jerusalem, Reverend Collins. Well, he was on the phone, but Carol Maldonado was there, and Claudette Forbes and myself, about Martin Luther King Day 2016. I tried to have a meeting with Reverend Collins last week, but he had surgery on his elbow and was out of his office all week. I have a meeting with him tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. I'll speak about this a little bit more in my mayor's report tonight, but basically, I just see this MLK Day as an opportunity for us to once again show a united Snellville and get a much bigger participation for the entire city. And we're going to get the city. The city was a sponsor last year. The city will sponsor it again this year. And basically, I'm going to ask you all for support and ask all the we're gonna put a press release out about this also, and hopefully get some, community involvement in it. And again, I'll speak about more about that. Basically, that's what it's about. I think I've spoken to most of you about that one. Okay. Any questions about that? Okay. Property located at 2686 Springdale Road. This is the old police station. My recommendation is that we put this, turn it over to the URA and let them market it and sell the property. It's been sitting there for 2.5 years. Okay, it's 4 years. Exactly. Hasn't made us a dime in 4 years. Hasn't made us a dime in 4 years. Yes, it did.
Well, we did some
It did some
parking,
parking,
we
yeah, yeah.
did some parking.
But the building didn't make it for us, the parking lot.
No.
Yeah, the cell tower back there. So, I'm gonna ask that if you don't have a problem with that we ask the city attorney to get a resolution, whatever we need for our next meeting in order for us to, do whatever we need to do to get that into the hands of the URA and get the URA on board with it.
And we have had that survey, right, Chief? Do you know, Butch?
We've had it,
And there's a piece, we had it praised, but have we had it surveyed? Because don't
I
we
thought
have to
it
break part of it out
yeah.
for access to the cell tower?
I have looked everywhere for that record. All I could find was the latest appraisal. Couldn't find an updated survey. So what I'd like, if it's going to the URA, I'd like for the Public Safety Committee to work with the URA on that, to make sure that we're, everybody's in line in bringing a recommendation back to the council.
Okay, tell me why we're doing that. I mean, I don't have a problem with it, I just don't understand.
Because in talking to Roy, the police department has some other needs that building may or may not fulfill. And we had, for instance, a bid go out where we rejected all the bids for a firearms training simulator. That may be a location that an indoor range could be.
All I'm gonna say is this, fellas, make up your mind, because it's sitting there for 4 years. The hospital's cost us money for 4 years, and if we can't use it in the next 6 months, I don't see any reason for us to keep it. I'm sorry.
My problem has been the appraisal was twice as much as what the latest offer was. So, marketing it, trying to do something with it, seeing what's.
I mean, this is the first I've heard. We've talked about this several times. This is the first I've heard about the police being able to use it.
I just wanted to get, I think it's a great idea to try to move it, but I'd like to have that discussion.
As long as you have it by the next meeting, you're in good shape.
Sounds like my first project, doesn't it?
That's all we get.
Top of your list, everybody.
Sounds like my first project.
Right under web chat, but.
That's all we need.
Sounds like
Become our own set of problems, I promise you, Butch. You'll get used to it. Okay, that's the last thing on the work agenda. Does anybody else have anything else to discuss under the work agenda? If not,
I already got it.
I'm sorry?
This committee report? Yeah, I already told you. We're good. Kelly, for the staff committee report, Kelly won't be here. Her mom was having issues again, so she'll be at the hospital, but Gretchen Schultz is
Okay,
going to get
that's
her
fine.
report.
During a regular session, work session of the mayor and city council of Snellville, Georgia, Mayor Whit announced that certain matters should be discussed in a closed session of the meeting and asked council to advise the city with respect to the city council will advise the city of the following